And hello everyone, welcome inside our NEC Front Row Studios. I'm Craig D'Amico, subbing in this week for Ralph Ventre, and this is NEC Women's Basketball on the Run. The calendar is now flipped over to February. We are one step closer to the madness that is March. 4 weeks remain in the NEC Women's Basketball regular season, so with that in mind, let's take a look and check out where they stand. It was a crazy night in NEC Women's Basketball last Monday as the top 3 teams entering the night all went down. And that leaves us with Sacred Heart and St. Francis still tied atop the standings, albeit at 8-2. Those 2 teams could sew up playoff spots as soon as this weekend. Meanwhile, Robert Morris, the champs, are surging up the standings, having won their last 4 straight games, including a 70-68 thriller Monday night in Loretto against the Red Flash. Robert Morris now sits in a 3rd place tie with Central Connecticut. The Bryant Bulldogs sit 2 games back in the out of the top 4, I should say. It's important to keep an eye on that because the top 4 teams, as you know, are guaranteed home playoff games come tournament time. The Bulldogs won a thriller against the FDU Knights on Monday night after trailing for 39 minutes. They came back and Kiki Palmer put them ahead for good with a buzzer beater to win it for Bryant. Also, a shout out to Wagner head coach Heather Jacobs and the Wagner Seahawks women's basketball team who picked up a hard-earned and well-deserved first NEC win of the season on Monday night at home against St. Francis Brooklyn. It's now time for one of my favorite segments. This is She Gets Buckets. The biggest sharpshooter of the week is none other than Robert Morris senior guard NECWBB Stamalampru. Last weekend, she led the Colonials to a pair of victories, shooting 16 for 35 from the field, an incredible .460 shooting percentage. In the game Monday night against the Flash in particular, she went 11 for 21, 5 for 10 from downtown, and put in 27 points. In the process, NECWBB moved into 2nd place on the Colonials' all-time scoring list, trailing only former countrymate, former teammate, and all-time Colonial great Artemis Spanu. The Colonials have been red hot, and NECWBB has been a key catalyst during the Colonials' current 4-game surge. She's averaged 18.3 points and shot .444. These last 2 weeks, no doubt about it, NECWBB Stamalampru, she gets buckets. It's time now to take a look through the world of social media. It's time for our Twitter timeout, extending a 30 into a full. This week's featured tweet comes to us from the Leicester Riders, who sent out this tweet saying, latest signing, former 3-time All-NEC first-teamer from Fairleigh Dickinson, Erica Livermore, pours in 33 points in a victory over the Cardiff Met Archers. Livermore was one of the best double-double threats in recent memory in the Northeast Conference every time she took the court with the Knights, and I'm sure everyone would agree, especially the other NEC coaches who don't have to game plan against her anymore, are all thrilled to see her move on and have great success at the professional level overseas. Time now to take a look at an eye-popping NEC statistic. This is Stats Amazing. And today we're going to focus on Bryant Jr. Naomi Ashley. For the first 2 seasons, she was a player that could rarely get off the bench. Entering this year, her career high for minutes in a single game was just 12. She averaged 2.8 minutes per game just a season ago. This year, she's averaging nearly 27 minutes per game. She's making the most of the time that she gets. She had 17 points 2 weeks ago against the Wagner Seahawks and was key with 6 points in the Bulldogs' 4th quarter comeback last week against Fairleigh Dickinson. For Naomi Ashley, Stats Amazing. And finally, let's take a look at this weekend's slate. On Saturday, the 3 teams that lost back on Monday night at the top of the standings will look to bounce back this weekend with Sacred Heart hosting Bryant, St. Francis visiting LIU Brooklyn, and Central Connecticut State visiting Mount St. Mary's in a game which will feature NEC Hall of Famer Susie Rawlick's jersey being retired at halftime. Then on Monday, be sure to join us for Mount St. Mary's hosting the Bryant Bulldogs on ESPN3, our featured game of the week. It'll be a 7 p.m. tip time. Myself and Dave Popkin will be on the call from down in Emmitsburg, Maryland. That'll just about wrap things up for this week. Enjoy the games, everybody. I'm Craig D'Amico, and this has been NEC Women's Basketball on the Run.